Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brothers and sisters, wow. For those of you who have been with me over the last 2 years, you already know that I don't usually comment too frequently on this channel on the subject of supposed alien phenomenon and all that comes with it. We've discussed this quite a bit on live streams via the Parable of the Vineyard channel, but just by the nature of the areas of study that I've been involved in personally, I haven't felt it was necessary to dive too much further into this topic or to go out of my way to throw in my 2 cents. However, in light of recent events and the uptick in some pretty incredible media activity, I felt it was necessary to just take a few minutes and simply point out the trends that I'm seeing right here and point you to some additional resources for further investigation. First, I have to point out that a soft disclosure has already been in the works for decades now. And by that I mean that whether it be through politics, entertainment, science, history, or even weather outlets, we've been receiving the conditioning of soft and gentle little nudges, I'll call them, to get us, the general public, to begin accepting the idea of extraterrestrial or interdimensional life forms on Earth. This has come in the form of sightings, movies, historical discoveries, and television programming designed to instill these ideas, such as ancient aliens and things of the like. Even supposed scientific discovery and research has over time given us, as a country of information consumers, the general impression that life is possible outside of the realm of what we've generally understood here on Earth. This, in a very general sense, is long-term exposure to soft alien disclosure. But when the paranormal and extraterrestrial focused community generally references soft disclosure, they truly intend to point to this general idea that in the soon coming future, the media will in some way or another admit that aliens from space truly do exist. True disclosure, or full disclosure we'll call it, would only occur down the road when physical evidence is provided and acknowledged by our recognized authority figures such as the US government. But whether you view soft disclosure as a long-term objective or a single identifiable event in time, ladies and gentlemen, by almost any definition I've come to understand, soft disclosure is happening right now in front of our faces. Yeah. Going back just a single year to June 20th, 2018, we see a publicly recognized news leader openly discussing the fact that according to airline pilots, UFOs frequently come close to colliding with them in mid-air routes. Fox News even highlights a guest from the UK's UFO project and demonstrates some aerial footage of unidentified phenomenon in the sky. These types of periodic news updates on the possibility of UFOs goes back much further, but just for the sake of demonstration, I thought that June 20th was an interesting date to mention, and you'll see why here in just a moment. What becomes even more interesting, however, is the sudden uptick in these types of news statements across multiple platforms just this year alone. Right, left, independent, it doesn't matter. Everyone is now increasingly discussing the so-called facts surrounding UFOs and giving full credibility to their existence and interaction in this realm. For example, in April of this year, Fox aired another bit called Navy Prepares New Guidelines for Reporting UFO Sightings. Along with this message, Fox again airs the footage taken from a U.S. military aircraft who was tracking another UFO in the sky. There have been many of these types of reports aired across various platforms. However, I just want to mention a few to show you that the mainstream is no longer shying away from this topic at all. Just a month later, on May 29th of this year, the New York Post publishes a special piece called Nick Pope on UFO Sightings, the Navy, and Pentagon, which provides a host of official documents, images, videos, and commentary concerning the rise of UFO interaction within the military and commercial sectors, and establishes the fact, further, that this is something that the US government is fully aware of. Not surprising, since just a month before we were told that the US Navy now has official reporting procedures for UFO activity. A few days later, Vice News publishes another piece titled Meet the Top Gun Pilot Who Chased a UFO in an F-18 Super Hornet. This private testimonial from a former pilot named David Fravor outlines the nature of his encounter with much detail and provides even more credibility to the notion that the US government is not only well aware of the UFO phenomenon, but has made active attempts at tracking and pursuing them. Just 15 days after that, on June 20th, 2019, exactly 1 year from Tucker Carlson's Fox News report about UFOs frequently coming close to impacting airliners, CNN aired a piece titled, "Senators Receive Classified Briefings on UFO Sightings," in which CNN informs the public that back in 2007, the Congress directed the Pentagon to set up a $22 million search for the truth regarding this UFO activity. Ironically, as if by sheer coincidence, Joe Rogan also brought forth a public bombshell on June 20th of this year, bringing on the well-known Bob Lazar to share more detailed information regarding his testimony of working on alien craft at Area 51 in the late 80s. If you haven't already seen this video, which is up to 3.4 million views over the last 5 days, Bob Lazar shares with much attention to the details, I might add, his account of working on special projects for the US government and a little bit about the seemingly magical nature of the power generated from the reactor used to run the craft. In fact, a documentary has just emerged outlining the full account of Bob Lazar and does a reasonably good job of providing a high level of credibility to his testimony through testimonials, documentation, and a host of other methods. June 20th seems to be a day for UFO talk over the last 2 years. But if you listen closely, you'll notice a very interesting trail of breadcrumbs left, whether intentionally or not, that leads us, the viewers, right back to the ancient aliens area of study, even mentioning that he believes that the tech and craft he was working on was likely found during an archaeological dig. Ladies and gentlemen, whether you realize it or not, we are already past the tick mark labeled soft disclosure on the volume knob of alien acknowledgement, and well on our way to full disclosure by any measure you might use. What is it going to take for each individual to each see a strange sighting over their own neighborhood before they realize that whatever is going on actually, truly is going on? These activities previously considered paranormal are about to become normal. And we know this, if by nothing else, than the normalization we are seeing within the media as they prep our minds for what is to come next. Whether you believe that these phenomena are truly off-world, interdimensional, or from government tech, would you be willing to consider that perhaps all of these descriptions and theories are simply half-truth diversions to keep us from fully understanding the tremendous force that is about to come upon us? What if what most people believed was a great revolution in human history was actually a cleverly disguised great deception that went back to the beginning of mankind? Even a deception of biblical proportions, you might say. For more information regarding the truth of this phenomenon, the forces at work, and the agenda in mind, click the cards shown on screen or check out the links in the description box below. Time is of the essence, and it is only a matter of time before the minds of men will be completely entranced by what their eyes will see and their ears will hear. I'm Justin with Christian Truthers. Shalom.